The hotel hallway smelled like fresh linen and deceit. My pulse hammered in my ears as I approached room 318, phone in one hand, divorce papers in the other. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to know. But fate, or maybe just good instincts, had other plans. It started 2 weeks ago when Emma became a different person overnight. The woman I married had been warm, affectionate. Sure, we had our ups and downs, but nothing like this. Suddenly, she was glued to her phone, leaving the room to take calls, texting with a smirk she used to reserve for me. Then came the business trips. Always last minute, always urgent, always with an excuse so thin I could see right through it. I played dumb. I let her think she was outsmarting me. But I wasn't blind. I checked our shared bank account. 2 hotel bookings under her name, both in a city she had no reason to visit. That was all the proof I needed. But I wanted more. I needed to see it with my own eyes. Which is why I was standing here now, outside room 318, the cold brass door handle under my palm. My heart pounded against my ribs, but my grip was steady. I'd already paid the receptionist for a duplicate key, flashing a fake smile and some excuse about surprising my wife. Ironic. The door clicked open without resistance. Inside, dim lights spilled from the bathroom, but the rest of the room was shadowed. I didn't need a spotlight to know what I was about to find. Heavy breathing. The unmistakable rustle of sheets. A man's voice, deep, satisfied. My stomach churned. I flicked on the flashlight. The beam sliced through the darkness, landing directly on Emma's bare shoulders. She gasped, twisting around, eyes wide with shock. The man beside her, some muscle-bound idiot with a smug face, froze like a deer in headlights. Sheets tangled around their legs. Clothes lay scattered on the floor. Emma's shock lasted only a second before her face twisted into something else. Rage. Are you insane? What the hell are you doing here, Logan? I ignored her. My phone was already recording, capturing every bit of her betrayal, her guilt. The look in her eyes as reality sank in. She'd been caught. Her lover, Jason, finally found his voice. Dude, this isn't what it looks like. I laughed, a cold, humorless sound. Save it. It's exactly what it looks like. I lifted the divorce papers, shaking them in the air. Guess what, sweetheart? You just lost everything. Emma lunged forward, grabbing for my phone, but I stepped back. Delete that video. Logan, I swear. No, my voice was like steel. This is my insurance. You don't get to twist the story. You don't get to gaslight me into thinking I'm crazy. I gestured to the bed, to Jason's panicked expression, to her desperation. This is who you really are. Her face flickered, shock, then fury, then something else. Calculation. Emma always knew how to lie, how to manipulate, and even now, caught red-handed, she was searching for an angle. Logan, listen, she started, voice softening. I can explain. I cut her off with a sharp laugh. Oh, I bet you can. Go ahead, Emma. Make it make sense. Tell me how falling into bed with another man was an accident. Her lips parted, but she hesitated. For the first time, I saw it, fear. She knew she was done. Jason, meanwhile, scrambled off the bed, grabbing his jeans. Look, man, I didn't know she was married, I swear. I turned my flashlight straight into his eyes, making him flinch. Shut up. My patience was gone. My dignity was in shreds, but my resolve? Stronger than ever. Emma was still staring, breathing hard. Then, in true Emma fashion, she made a mistake. She rolled her eyes. Ugh, are you done? You're acting like such a child. That was it. That was all I needed. The last thread of my restraint snapped. I took one last glance at the scene, the sheets still warm from them, the scent of betrayal thick in the air. Then I pocketed my phone, straightened my shoulders, and walked out the door. She screamed after me. Jason mumbled something. I didn't stop. This was only the beginning. The cold night air hit me like a slap as I stepped out of the hotel. My fists clenched, my breath coming in sharp, uneven bursts. Every cell in my body screamed at me to turn back, to go inside and finish what I started. But I wouldn't give Emma the satisfaction. She wasn't worth it. Neither was that idiot Jason. I forced my feet forward, my mind racing through the chaos of the last 10 minutes. I caught her. And what was her reaction? Not guilt, not remorse, just anger that she got caught. Like I was the villain in all this. The video was still playing on my phone. I stopped at my car, staring at the screen. The flashlight had captured everything. The way she twisted the sheets around herself, her frantic attempts to come up with an excuse, the look in her eyes when she realized there was no way out. I should have felt satisfied, but all I felt was rage. I gripped the divorce papers in my other hand, crumpling the edges. She thought she could lie her way out of this, that she could roll her eyes and make me feel small, like I was overreacting? Not this time. I climbed into the driver's seat, tossing the papers onto the passenger side. My phone buzzed Emma. I ignored it. A minute later, another call. Then a text. Emma, Logan, pick up the damn phone. Emma, we need to talk. Emma, delete that video. Now. I let out a sharp laugh. Unbelievable. Even now, she wasn't apologizing. Just trying to cover her own ass. The next message made my blood boil. Emma, if you send that video to anyone, I swear to God, you will regret it. A threat. She had the audacity to threaten me. I gripped the steering wheel, my mind snapping into focus. This wasn't going to be a simple divorce. Emma wasn't going to walk away quietly. She would lie, twist the story, make herself the victim. She always did. Fine. If she wanted war, she was going to get one. I drove straight to my lawyer's office. It was late, but I didn't care. I called Mark, a longtime friend, one of the best divorce attorneys in the state. Logan. His groggy voice answered after 3 rings. It's almost midnight, man. What's going on? I need to meet. Now. A pause. You all right? I swallowed the lump in my throat. No. Emma's cheating on me. Silence. Then, come over. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in Mark's home office, still gripping the divorce papers. Mark rubbed his face, sighing. She actually got caught. Yeah. I pulled out my phone and played the video. Mark watched, his face hardening. Damn. She didn't even try to deny it. She's texting me now, threatening me. I slid the phone across the desk. He skimmed the messages, his jaw tightening. She's scared. He looked up at me. That's good. Means you have leverage. But you need to be smart. What do you want out of this? I exhaled. I want her gone. I want her to lose everything. Mark nodded. Then listen carefully. First, don't send that video to anyone yet. Not until we use it properly. Second, stop responding to her texts. Let her dig her own grave. Third, you need to act calm. The more unbothered you seem, the more desperate she'll get. I clenched my jaw. And if she tries to turn this around on me? She will, Mark said flatly. Women like Emma always do. But you have proof. This video is everything. I sat back, my mind working through every scenario. Emma was going to fight. She was going to lie, scream, manipulate. But I was ready. I left Mark's house feeling lighter, but the moment I got back in my car, my phone buzzed again. Another message. Emma, I'm coming home. We're talking whether you like it or not. I stared at the screen, a slow smirk creeping onto my face. She had no idea what was waiting for her. By the time I pulled into the driveway, Emma's car was already there. She was fast, but not fast enough to outrun what was coming. The house, once a place that felt like home, now looked different. The warm porch light, the familiar windows, it was all just a stage for the lie she had been living. I took my time getting out of the car. I wanted her to wait, to wonder what I was thinking, to feel even an ounce of the humiliation she had put me through. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. Emma stood in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, her expression a mix of anger and forced confidence. Her blonde hair was still damp, probably from a quick hotel shower, as if scrubbing off the scent of her affair could erase what had happened. About time, she scoffed. We need to talk. I let the door close behind me, my fingers still wrapped around my phone. Talk. Now you want to talk. I laughed coldly. Funny. You weren't in the mood to talk an hour ago when I caught you bare-assed in a hotel room with Jason. Her eyes narrowed. Oh, please, Logan. Stop acting like some victim. If our marriage wasn't already dead, I wouldn't have needed to. I cut her off, stepping closer. Needed to what, Emma? Needed to cheat? Lie? Sneak around like some desperate, unfaithful. I stopped myself, exhaling sharply. No. You chose this. She rolled her eyes. Oh, grow up. You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to be stuck with someone who barely pays attention to me? I stared at her, my jaw tightening. Barely pays attention? Are you serious? I shook my head. I've given you everything, Emma. I worked my ass off so you could have this house, this life, every damn thing you wanted. Yeah, well, maybe I wanted more. There it was. The truth. It slipped out before she could stop it, and for a second, just a second, I saw her panic. I let out a slow, humorless laugh. And Jason was your more? She folded her arms. At least he doesn't ignore me. At least he… What? My voice was sharp enough to make her flinch. At least he what? Lies better? Pretends to care? You really think he wants you? You're just an easy score for him, Emma. And now that he knows I caught you, I guarantee he's regretting ever touching you. Her face darkened. You don't know anything. I smirked. Oh, I know enough. Want to bet on how long it'll take before Jason starts avoiding your calls? She opened her mouth to argue, but her phone buzzed on the coffee table. We both looked at it. Jason. The color drained from her face. I leaned against the wall, watching, waiting. She snatched the phone and declined the call. I laughed. Go ahead, answer it. See what he has to say. She glared at me. Screw you. I shrugged. Already did. And look how that turned out. Her hand curled into a fist, her nails digging into her palm. You think this is funny? No, I think it's pathetic. I walked over to the couch and tossed the divorce papers onto the coffee table. This is happening, Emma. You lost. You're done. Her eyes flicked down to the papers, then back to me. You think you can just throw me away like garbage? You threw us away first. She scoffed. I'm not signing that. You will. Or what? She crossed her arms, tilting her head. You think you can just force me? I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen, and let the video play. The flashlight, the tangled sheets, Jason's panicked face. Emma's eyes widened as her own betrayal stared back at her. Let me make this clear, I said quietly. You will sign. You will leave. And if you so much as think about trying to take a single cent more than you deserve, this video is going to your parents, your friends, your boss. She paled. You wouldn't. I smirked. Wouldn't I? Silence. Her hands trembled. For the first time tonight, real fear flashed in her eyes. You don't have to do this, she whispered, her tone shifting. Softer now. Logan, we can work this out. I raised an eyebrow. Now you want to work things out? I made a mistake. Her voice cracked. A huge mistake. But you're my husband. We have history. I love you. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. Then I laughed. A slow, cold laugh that made her shrink back. You're good, Emma. I'll give you that. I leaned in just enough to watch her squirm. But you don't love me. You love control. And right now? You've lost it. Tears welled up in her eyes. But I'd seen this act before. You disgust me, I muttered, grabbing my keys. Pack your things. Be out by morning. I didn't wait for her response. I walked out the door and into the night, feeling lighter than I had in years. This wasn't over. But I was just getting started. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of regret. There was none. Not because of sadness. I was past that. It was the rage that kept me awake. The kind that buzzed under my skin, refusing to let me rest. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint sounds of Emma moving upstairs. She was still in my house. I clenched my jaw. Not for long. At some point, exhaustion must have caught up to me because the next thing I knew, sunlight was spilling through the windows. I sat up, rubbing my face. The house was silent. For a brief moment, I let myself hope that Emma had packed her things and left without another fight. But no, that would have been too easy. I climbed the stairs and found her in the bedroom, arms crossed, still in her clothes from last night. The suitcase on the bed was open, but empty. She hadn't packed a thing. You're still here, I said, my voice flat. She tilted her head, her lips curving into a smirk. I'm thinking. I let out a sharp laugh. Thinking about what, Emma? How to twist this in your favor. She didn't even flinch. You're really going through with this, huh? Do I look like I'm joking? I stepped closer. You cheated. You lost. The only thing left is for you to walk out that door before I make you. She exhaled, shaking her head like I was the unreasonable one. You act like I'm the only one at fault here. I blinked. Excuse me. You're not innocent, Logan, she continued, flipping her hair over her shoulder. You let our marriage fall apart. You prioritized work. You stopped making me feel wanted. Do you know how lonely it is to live with someone who barely looks at you? I clenched my fists. And instead of talking to me, you spread your legs for Jason? She shrugged. He was there for me. I stared at her, stunned by the sheer shamelessness. There was no guilt, no remorse, just that entitled attitude that made my blood boil. I can't believe I wasted years on you, I muttered. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please. You're acting like I'm the worst thing that's ever happened to you. You are. That wiped the smirk off her face. For a moment, she just stared at me. Then she sighed and sat on the edge of the bed. So what now? You really want a divorce? I grabbed the papers off the nightstand and threw them at her. You already know the answer. She glanced at the papers, then back at me. You think I'm just going to sign these and walk away with nothing? You're getting exactly what you deserve. She let out a bitter laugh. And what if I don't sign? I leaned against the doorframe, smirking. Then we go to court. And I make sure everyone, your family, your friends, your boss, sees the video. Her face paled. I shrugged. Your call, sweetheart. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. She knew she had no way out. She swallowed hard. I need time to think. I shook my head. No. You had time. You made your choices. You have until tonight to be out of this house. Her jaw clenched, but she didn't argue. I turned to leave, but before I stepped out, I gave her one last look. And Emma? She glanced up. I hope Jason was worth it. Then I walked out. I didn't look back. But I wasn't done yet. The day crawled by at an agonizing pace. Every minute Emma was still in my house felt like an insult. I kept myself busy, called a lawyer, confirmed what I already knew. With the evidence I had, this divorce would go my way. But the papers meant nothing if she refused to sign. By evening, I had enough. I marched upstairs, ready to throw her out myself. But the bedroom door was open, and the sight that greeted me made my blood boil. Emma was sitting on the bed, legs crossed, casually scrolling through her phone like she belonged here. A suitcase, still empty, sat next to her. She hadn't packed a single thing. I clenched my jaw. What the hell are you still doing here? She didn't even look up. I told you. I need time to think. I let out a bitter laugh. Think about what, Emma? Whether you can worm your way out of this. She finally set her phone down and met my gaze. You don't have to be such an ass, Logan. You don't have to be such a liar. But here we are. I shot back. Now get your crap and leave. She tilted her head. Or what? I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Don't test me. For the first time since this whole mess started, she hesitated. Good. I leaned in slightly. You think I won't follow through? You think I won't send that video to everyone you know? She swallowed. You wouldn't ruin my life like that. I smirked. Emma, you ruined your own life the second you climbed into bed with Jason. I'm just making sure you live with the consequences. Her nails dug into the bedsheets. I hate you. Great. Now pack your stuff and get out. She exhaled sharply, finally pushing herself up from the bed. Fine, she snapped. I'll go. I folded my arms. I'll believe it when I see it. She threw me a glare before yanking open the closet and grabbing handfuls of clothes. I watched in silence, making sure she didn't try anything sneaky. It took her longer than necessary, probably stalling. But after a while, she shoved the last of her things into her suitcase and zipped it up. Dragging the bag behind her, she stormed past me, heading downstairs. Not going to say goodbye? I taunted. She whirled around at the front door, eyes blazing. Go to hell, Logan. I grinned. Already been there, sweetheart. You were the tour guide. Her face twisted with fury, but she had nothing left to say. With one last glare, she yanked the door open, stepped outside, and slammed it shut behind her. Silence. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. Emma was finally gone. Or so I thought. Silence settled over the house, but it wasn't the peaceful kind. It was eerie, unnatural. As much as I wanted to believe that Emma was really gone, something in my gut told me otherwise. I didn't trust her. Not for a second. I locked the door behind her and leaned against it, exhaling. The weight on my chest should have lifted, but it didn't. My mind kept replaying our last conversation, searching for something I missed. Then my phone buzzed. I pulled it out, half expecting a text from her, some last attempt to manipulate me. But it wasn't Emma. It was from Ryan, my best friend. Ryan, dude. You need to check Jason's Instagram. My stomach twisted. I tapped the app open, my fingers moving faster than my brain could process. It didn't take long to find what Ryan was talking about. Jason, Emma's boyfriend, her pathetic excuse of an affair partner, had posted a story. A short, grainy video. I clicked on it. The footage was shaky, but clear enough. Jason was in a hospital bed, his arm in a thick cast. His face was bruised, lips swollen. The caption read, "Some psycho husband broke my arm. Ain't over yet." My jaw clenched. So that idiot did go to the hospital. I should have broken more than his arm. Before I could exit out, another notification popped up. This time, it was Emma. Emma, you think you won? Watch your back, Logan. I let out a dry laugh. Seriously? This woman had the audacity to threaten me after getting caught? Before I could type a reply, another text came through. Emma, you're gonna regret this. I rolled my eyes and tossed my phone on the counter. I wasn't about to get into a text war with someone who lost. Let her throw her tantrum. It didn't change the fact that she was out of my life. Or so I thought. I didn't realize just how wrong I was. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of someone pounding on my front door. Hard. I sat up fast, still groggy. My first thought, Emma. I threw on a shirt, ran a hand through my hair, and yanked the door open. But it wasn't her. Two cops stood on my porch. My stomach dropped. Logan Carter, the taller officer asked, flipping open a notepad. I nodded, trying to keep my face neutral. Yeah, what's this about? The second cop crossed his arms. We received a report of domestic assault against one Jason Thompson. We need to ask you a few questions. I stiffened. That little. Emma did this. I forced a calm breath. You're kidding, right? The first cop's face remained unreadable. Mind if we come inside? I clenched my jaw but stepped aside. Sure. They walked in, taking in the living room like they were searching for evidence. You were at the Lancaster Hotel 2 nights ago, correct? Yeah, I admitted. No point in lying. I caught my wife cheating on me. And yeah, I hit the guy, but he deserved a hell of a lot worse. The officers exchanged a look. The second cop pulled out his phone and swiped through something before turning the screen to me. It was another video, this one much clearer than Jason's grainy hospital selfie. Security footage. It showed me storming into the hotel room, flashlight in one hand, fists swinging the next second. Jason went down fast, but the angle made it look worse than it was. The way Emma screamed, the way Jason clutched his arm, it was the perfect setup. Emma planned this. She knew exactly what she was doing. I gritted my teeth. Let me guess. My ex-wife gave you this footage. The first officer nodded. She's claiming you attacked Jason unprovoked. I let out a sharp laugh. Unprovoked? He was in bed with my wife. The cop didn't react. That's not how she's telling it. Of course it wasn't. Emma wasn't just trying to ruin my life. She was trying to destroy me. I exhaled slowly, forcing down the rage. Do I need a lawyer? Neither officer answered immediately. Then the taller one sighed. Right now, we just need your statement. But if Jason pushes charges. I ran a hand down my face. Perfect. Emma might have left my house. But she wasn't done. Not even close. And I had no idea what she was planning next. The cops left after I gave my statement, but their words hung in the air like a storm cloud. If Jason pushes charges. There was no if about it. That bastard would do anything to make my life hell, especially with Emma pulling the strings. I grabbed my phone, dialing Ryan. He picked up on the second ring. Dude, I saw the cops at your place. What the hell's going on? I exhaled sharply. Emma's playing dirty. Jason's claiming I attacked him unprovoked, and they've got hotel footage. A long silence. Then, you need a lawyer. Like now. Already on it. I muttered, rubbing my temple. My patience was hanging by a thread. I should have seen this coming. Ryan hesitated. You sure she's done? I mean, Emma never goes down easy. That was the problem. She wasn't done. And an hour later, I had proof. My phone buzzed while I was making coffee, and the second I saw the caller ID, my stomach twisted. My boss. I picked up, keeping my voice steady. Hey, Mark. Logan. His tone was sharp, clipped. I need you to come into the office. My grip on the mug tightened. What's going on? A heavy pause. Then, it's about a complaint. Serious allegations. The air left my lungs. No. No way. Emma wouldn't. Would she? The office felt different the moment I stepped in. Eyes flicked toward me. Whispers buzzed in the background. I clenched my jaw, ignoring the stares as I walked straight to Mark's office. He was waiting, arms crossed, expression unreadable. I shut the door behind me. Tell me what's going on. Mark sighed, sliding a file across the desk. An anonymous complaint was filed against you this morning. I opened the folder, my pulse hammering. The words hit me like a truck. Harassment. Workplace misconduct. I stared at the paper, my mind struggling to keep up. This wasn't happening. This was insane. What? My voice came out hoarse. This is insane. I haven't done anything. Mark studied me. You know how this works, Logan. We have to take it seriously. I shot up from my chair. You know me, Mark. You really think I don't want to think anything, he interrupted, his voice firm. I want facts. Which means an internal review. Effective immediately, you're on suspension. I took a step back, my breath coming short. This was really happening. Emma wasn't just trying to ruin my personal life. She was trying to erase me. By the time I got home, I was shaking with rage. I paced the living room, every thought colliding into the next. I needed to hit back. Hard. I grabbed my phone and scrolled to Emma's number. My thumb hovered over the call button. Then I stopped. No, calling her wouldn't change anything. She wanted me to react, to lose control, to prove I was unstable. I needed to be smarter than her. I called my lawyer instead. Logan, he answered. Tell me everything. And I did. From the hotel fight to the cops, to the false complaint at work. When I finished, he exhaled. She's building a case. She wants to paint you as aggressive, dangerous. If Jason's injuries stick in court, and this workplace complaint gains traction, she could push for a restraining order. Maybe worse. I gritted my teeth. She's lying. You know she's lying. He was silent for a moment. Then, truth doesn't always win, Logan. Evidence does. I squeezed my eyes shut, inhaling. So what do we do? Gather our own evidence, he said simply. First, I'll push to get that hotel footage in context. That video didn't capture the full story, just the part that made you look bad. We need witness statements. Employees, hotel staff, anyone who saw what led up to the fight. I nodded. Okay. And the work complaint. HR is required to investigate, he said. I'll push for a review of the so-called anonymous report. If Emma's behind it, we'll expose her. His voice sharpened. But you cannot lose your temper. No more confrontations. No angry texts, no calls. She wants you to lash out. Don't give her ammunition. I exhaled, my grip tightening around the phone. Logan, I hear you. Good. His tone softened. Look, I know this is hell, but you will get through it. Would I? Because right now, it felt like Emma was 10 steps ahead, and I was running out of time to catch up. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, my mind ran through every worst-case scenario. Emma had already cost me my peace, my marriage, and now my job was on the line. But I wasn't going to let her win. By morning, I had a plan. I met Ryan at a diner, my lawyer already on call. We were going to fight back, hard. Step 1, get the hotel footage in context. Ryan had a friend who worked security at the Lancaster Hotel. Within hours, we had everything, not just the edited version Emma had given the cops. The full footage told a very different story. It showed Emma sneaking into the hotel with Jason, laughing. It caught their disgusting make-out session in the hallway before disappearing into the room. And most importantly, it showed me arriving. Angry, yes, but not out of control. The camera caught Jason swinging first. It caught Emma smirking while I got tackled by hotel security. And it caught Jason on the floor, intact, before my punch. His arm was fine, until he tripped over his own feet and hit the nightstand. The truth was staring me in the face. Emma and Jason had set me up. Step 2, destroy the fake workplace complaint. My lawyer pushed for an internal review. HR took their time, but when they finally traced the anonymous complaint back to its source, guess who it was? Emma, using a burner email. It was so pathetic. The second HR confirmed the lie, they dropped the case. My boss apologized, personally. And Emma? She lost. But she wasn't done yet. The moment she realized her plans were falling apart, she showed up at my house, pounding on the door like a maniac. I opened it slowly, already recording on my phone. She was a mess, hair wild, mascara smeared. She tried to fake confidence, but the panic in her eyes gave her away. You think this is over, Logan? She spat. You think you won? I leaned against the doorframe, calm. I know I did. Her eyes flashed. You ruined my life. I laughed. You did that. I just stopped you from ruining mine. She tried a new angle, crocodile tears, voice breaking. Please, Logan. We were good once. I made a mistake. I just shook my head. You made dozens of mistakes, and I'm done cleaning them up. Her face twisted. You'll regret this. I met her eyes, dead serious. No, Emma. You will. Then I shut the door in her face. The last piece of karma? Jason dumped her. The second he realized Emma couldn't take me down, he bailed. Left her with nothing. Last I heard, she was couch hopping, trying to dig her way out of the mess she created. And me? I got my life back. No more lies. No more manipulations. Just freedom. And damn, it felt good.